So I'm just going to do a bit more about preparation for Fat Viking. Obviously it's a few months away yet, but I'm looking at stuff. I've just bought a sleeping bag, which I've mentioned, and I've also mentioned that I might not actually need it because the event itself is described as being a continuous ride. So there's checkpoints where you can stop for, I think it's about an hour if you at maximum, but there's cut-off times that you have to leave by. I think we'll be ahead of that or okay. But it also does mention in the mandatory gear, I've been going through that, looking at stuff that I need to carry. It does mention being able to cope with being outdoors. So there's quite a lot of stuff I need to go through and draw up a list. So I'll be going into a bit more detail of that shortly. Well, I'll quickly run through it. Emergency clothing. You have to have a complete set of emergency clothing. So if you stop, you have to be able to change into dry clothing or clothing that will keep you warm while you're doing nothing. Just sat waiting for help. So I've got to look at that. Eye protection, you've got to have goggles, glasses, clear lenses, face protection, balaclavas, face masks to stop frostbite. So yeah, buffs and stuff like that. Pogies, which are a covering on your handlebars, which I'll show you a picture of here. Chemical hand warmers, you have to have minimum 3 sets, which you put inside the pogies or in your pockets or whatever, to keep your hands warm if it gets really, really cold, just in case. Because sometimes you can't feel frostbite. I mean, I've had it through a visor when we were on a skidoo, and it was actually, you could feel that because it was just like a knife going into your face, just like you're being stabbed. It was just a tiny, tiny little slit in the lens, because as soon as you put the visor down on the helmet, it's steamed up, so you had to crack it slightly to let a bit of air flow through, and that's all it took. 10 minutes wind chill, and we had frostbite in cheeks and across the nose. So you have to be careful of that. You've got to carry insulated wide neck bottles, water containers. So yeah, that goes without saying. Thermos, well, I've got one of those. I'm going to carry a big thermos, put hot whatever in it. So I've got that all the time. I've got a clean canteen thermos, which I bought ages ago and thought I'd never use, and this could be right up this. Yeah, it says minimum 300 millilitres. So I think this carries a litre. So that'll be ideal. Food, you have to carry enough food to sustain yourself between checkpoints. All you'll get at checkpoints is some oatmeal, basic oatmeal food, and warmth. So carry your own food. You have to have an emergency ration of 1,000 calories, and you have to finish with it. So even if you don't use it, you have to have it at the finish of the event. And all this stuff is mandatory. So if you don't have it, you will be disqualified. It's all safety. It's all down to safety, which is obvious, really. Lights, yeah, lights and batteries. Got to carry. I'll be carrying 2 sets. I haven't decided whether to carry two lights. So I've got an extra light, so double up on everything. That's probably the best thing to do, actually, because all my lights are rechargeable. So I'm not sure whether to get battery lights. I'm going to weigh that one up, because I'm guessing if a light gets cold, the battery doesn't last very long. So it may be a case where I need to swap to battery lights so I can carry batteries, because I'm going to stash stuff against my body. Like I might carry a camelback bladder on my back, keep it inside your clothing so it doesn't freeze. That's the other thing with clothing is I've noticed from reading lots of things, because if you go out and you ride in cold weather and your clothing next to your skin gets wet, it's really, really hard to keep warm. You soon start to feel cold. And I think what I'm going to be trying to do is, like what other skiers do, is you wear tight clothing, so all of your layers are tight to you, so there's no gaps, no flappy gaps, because when you get, if this gets wet and then flaps away from your skin, that's when you feel the cold. But if you can keep this base layer warm, it never feels cold. It might be wet, but it still feels warm. So that's the secret. And then the warmth pushes the moisture out from your body. That's what I've got to. I mean, I've ridden in -28 before. I think I had just a tight, waterproof, stretchy layer over base layer and a sort of a mid layer, and that was it. And the stretchy outer layer was waterproof, so that worked. That was a podium jacket, I think, Endura podium, I think. And we rode around in -28 with ski gloves, ski mitts, with gloves underneath, and just normal boots, no overshoes, no nothing, and we were okay. But we weren't out that long, so this time around I should be wearing the same boots, not too many pairs, probably 1 pair of socks, good pair of thickish socks, and but I'm going to take overshoes, so to cover over the outside of the shoe, because you just got to keep it's your toes that get it, because they don't actually move much, obviously. So you know, if you're ridden in the cold, you'll know what it feels like. This is just on 4 levels up. Reflective material, you've got to put reflective material front and back of your bike, so people can see you, someone's looking for you. GPS device is obvious. I might carry 2, I don't know yet. I've got a Wahoo Element Roam, which I'm going to use, which I love. Battery life on that's really good, but obviously battery life is something that's going to diminish in cold weather, so batteries might not last long at all, so I need to be able to recharge those. I'm going to carry battery packs, which I can plug in any stops. Mobile phone, obviously, yeah. Spare tubes, pump and mini tool, I have that anyway. I don't carry a spare tube normally, but I will obviously in this event. Map of the course you get given, and it says at the bottom, we encourage everybody to bring full winter camping gear, but don't want anybody. We encourage everybody to bring full winter camping gear, but don't want anyone without proper training and experience to sleep outdoors. Because I've spoken to people and they say, we don't need to carry anything, and at the top I think it did say we don't want anyone to camp out. Fat Viking, it says at the top, is a race where most riders can finish without sleeping. If longer rests are needed, we want racers to spend their downtime at the checkpoints. We're not going to be silly. The guy I'm going with is very experienced in cold, so I'm thinking we will weigh that one up. If we've got the right gear and we've practiced beforehand, because obviously this is in January, so we will have a bit of a chance to go out in the cold and try all this stuff beforehand. But we need to if we're going to camp out, we need to tell the race directors, or we need to be able to phone the race directors and tell them exactly where we are. We have to have lights where we're staying that are visible, a red light. So yeah, just thought I'd put that one in. This is just race prep now. I've got plenty of time, but I need to be thinking about these things. I was just about to sell my my sleeping bag, but I'm going to keep it. I've got a good price on it. So, and the other things I just need to sort out are frame bag, pogies, overshoes. So yeah, I'll go through the list anyway. So that's it for this one. Just a bit of a short video on kit. I'll put some details as I get the kit together. I'll be putting a list of what I'm going to use. And then obviously I'm going to be looking at food as well, what food I'm going to carry. I'm quite good on food. We do eat a pretty natural, healthy diet anyway. I also use fat for energy instead of sugar now. I don't tend to carry anything sweet if I can help it, because it's just very short-lived. Although occasionally you do get to the stage where you just crave sugar, so you have to have that with you should you crash. But yeah, I'm going to try and use fat as my means of energy, my fuel. The other thing I've got to do is I've got to learn to push the bike loaded. So there's a hill near me called Watery Lane, which I try to ride up quite regularly. But I'm thinking I'm going to, where half of it's quite rough and steep, I might just get used to start pushing the bike through that section. So I get used to pushing the heavy bike, because it's something I don't like doing. I hate walking with a bike, but I've got to do it, because if I have to walk for any sort of distance pushing a bike through deep snow, then I have to be able to do it. I haven't got the strongest legs in the world when it comes to things like that, so I can pedal okay. I can pedal up any hill you like, but actual strength, I'm probably going to be at the moment weak on. So I'm in the gym, so I'm doing leg exercises as well to build strength. It's always tricky when you get to a certain age or a certain stage in your life. When you're in your late 60s, building any sort of muscle is quite tricky. So yeah, so that's it for this video. And if you want to keep following the series, by all means subscribe, share it about, tell your friends what we're doing. I'm going to putting a link to a Just Giving page for MND, Motor Neuron Disease. I'll put a link to it in the description below, so you can click on there, and I'll put a bit of a story to why I'm doing it and all the rest of it. So obviously MND is really, really important, but also it'll be a story a bit about me and my little trials and tribulations. Nothing in comparison to MND, but it's certainly a challenge for me to do this. So yeah, okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. I'm gonna have to get out. Oh.